talking about Black Hollywood, I want you to share a story that I just thought was amazing. I had no idea that you were very close friends with Rick James, and that
I wasn't as close friends with Rick James. Rick James was my self-ordained godfather.
Really?
Yeah, he claimed me as his son, and he was a major influence on my life. And I was devastated when he passed, as were so many of his close friends. He was just one of the most amazing and one of the most brilliant minds I believe God has ever allowed us to experience. And it's so sad that people, once again, once they think they know of you, that's all they want to know. You asked where I get a lot of my knowledge. He was one of my main influences. People like him, George Clinton, my aunt Shaka Khan. Like I said, my father, Howard McCrary. These are the people who helped shape and mold my mind. And Rick that was my guy. It was so funny. We would be out at huge events. I'm talking about like corporate events, right? Like Bill Gates in a room type shit, right? And he'd say, do me a favor. I say, yeah, what's up? Pops, anything? He said, go over to the DJ and ask him what the hell is wrong with him. Doesn't he have any Rick James? And me, I would go do it. So I'd go over to the DJ. The DJ would look. First, the DJ would be tripped out because it was me, right? Like, I said, hey man, see that guy over there? He sent me over here to ask you a question, man. That guy right there, that guy.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So, what is one thing or one experience that you remember besides that one experience that you remember that you have with Rick James that will forever stay with you?
There's so many. There's so many.
Give me one.
One. Hold on one second. Let me get this phone right.
Because you were with him the night before he died. So can you just tell us about that particular night that you were with him before he died?
So he was working on this session with Kanye West. It's probably something that you guys will never hear. And it was crazy because I actually ended up co-producing the session because he was just so hilarious. And, they had so much respect for him. And they paid him so much money to be there that, he just did what he wanted to do. And how do you control a tsunami? So I went into the session and I said, Papa Rick, listen, let's finish this session. I know you're having a ball here because he wanted to work at the record plant, which is a studio that he loved. And he wanted to do it out of a certain room. And when an artist has reached such amazing success, and as he has, it's deserving. I pray one day that people will go ahead and give me the things that I require to repeat success. Because I got to fight for everything tooth and nail. It's crazy, as I said earlier. But anyway, back to Papa Rick. So we finished this session. We leave, and we were back at his place. And he was telling me about when he produced Standing on the Top for the Temptations. And he was talking about how it felt for him as a boy from Buffalo who grew up listening, to them, and how, so many times he told me all these stories. He would talk to me about, his relationship with Marvin Gaye and his relationship with James Brown and with Prince and all these different stories that he just deposited in me. But this night he was telling me about Standing on the Top. And he told me how he and his boy Levi, who was his right hand in the Stone City Band, how he walked in and he would be cool as hell, smoke his cigarette. He was Rick James, but then he would walk outside the studio door and he'd say, Levi, we are producing the Temptations. Oh my God. And I was like a little kid, I couldn't believe this, and I had all of them. I had David Ruffin, I had Dennis Edwards, I had all of them. I had Melvin and everybody, right? And so this was probably one of the Temptations' last big hits before Ollie Woodson came and gave him Treat Her Like a Lady. I mean, this is what brought them back. And Rick carried Motown for years. So we were talking, and so he was telling me about some stuff. And so I had just gotten a series at the time called Committed on NBC. And we picked up for 13 episodes. I was working with some great producers, Heisler and Helene. It was a dream come true for me. And so I said, Papa Rick, I said, man, I love you. I said, but I got to go. I got to get up in the morning. I got this call time. Got to be on set. He said, well, go lay down. You ain't got to go nowhere. Go ahead, lay down. He said, you know, come on now. I said, Papa Rick, I said, no, I got to go home. I got to be ready. I got to be prepared. I got to go look at it. And this is when they were still delivering our scripts to us. They would email them, but they would also deliver them so that there was no excuse. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm saying. I go back to these days. So I had to get my script. I wanted to be sure I was on point. And he was sitting on the floor and he was drinking his milk, as he liked to do. He used to get a carton of milk and he would drink his milk. He said, all right, fine, then leave me. He said, you're going to tell this story one day. You're going to say, he was sitting on the floor drinking his milk and he asked me not to leave. And I left him, and that was the last time I saw him. And I said, man, that is really wrong that you would do that to me. Why do you do this, man? He said, oh, just shut up and get out of here. Go ahead. Go do your thing. He said, I'm proud of you. And I grabbed him, I kissed him on the forehead, and that was the last time that I saw him.
Wow. So where were you when you heard the news that Rick James had died?
I was actually on set. I was on the set the next day. And Sean Harris, who plays Waldo, he often works with me as my acting coach on various jobs. He's a brilliant acting coach. He was on set with me, and my mom had called him, and my mother, being the momager, she said, Sean, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to keep Darius away from all the phones, get his cell phone. I need you to keep him away from the TVs and keep him focused. Rick has died, and we're going to deal with it. We'll deal with it later. And I found this out later. I didn't know this at the time. And so I was just going through my day, and Sean was just acting so cool. And so I was like, man, let me have the phone. He's like, no, you don't need it today. You got to run through the day. We need to stay focused. So he was so good with everything. And a young lady who I was dating at the time, who was very good friends with Rick because her parents were best friends with him, actually. He was like an uncle to her. She called my dressing room, and I got the phone, and I just remember getting the news, and I was, man. And it was so difficult because he was just on a different path at the time of his passing. I mean, he and I would drink O'Doul's beer. You know, he wasn't partying like that. He realized that he had to slow down, you know, and he was doing that. He was about to do a reality show that I was going to be part of. And he had so much promise in his reinvention. And so it was a difficult pill to swallow. But I believe that he left us with some great memories and some great work, and he has definitely been on the other side of the veil working for everyone that he loves.